I haven't done one of these in a very long time. It's been I think like a month or maybe 2 months now. But we've got 2 new brawlers since the last time, so it had to have been over 2 months. We got Carl and we have Rosa, so it's gonna be interesting. And then we have a lot of changes in the meta. We have the new game mode Siege. So this is like for overall ranking and everything. Before we get started though, just keep in mind this is based off of my opinions from playing, my trophy range, and just overall how I look at it is how versatile brawlers are, how dominant they are, and how much I see them being played. So some of my rankings might differ from your guys's. Maybe you play at a different meta, or maybe you just think, I don't know, maybe you guys just play different stuff, or hey, maybe you just flat out disagree or whatever. But let me know your list. This is actually the last side note here. Like, every brawler in Brawl Stars can be good, so it's not really saying like the worst. It's like, obviously it's very dependent on the team comp you're running, how well you are with the brawler and everything. So this is more of like a generalization and everything, so keep that in mind. It's not like there's like, oh, like this brawler absolutely sucks. Maybe in some modes they suck, but overall every brawler can be good in the right situation and in the right hands, so keep that in mind. But for 25 here, we actually have Piper. The reason why Piper is down here, the maps and the modes really just don't favor to her at this moment. They did buff her with her super, how it added more bombs to it. I really think what they should do is for her super, make it so it's not random. And then a cool kind of maybe buff for her would be to give more damage on her close-up range, because right now she's very niche. She's good in a lot of the bounty maps, but aside from that, she's okay like on some of the wide open like gem grab maps, maybe on like corner safe and heist and everything. But Piper, I don't know, it just does not, the maps and modes right now just aren't really favored for her. So we have her down here because she's pretty tough to play, and she's not the optimal brawler really in a lot of the maps. Number 24 here, this is going to cause a lot of controversy. Number 24 here is Shelly. The reason why she is ranked this low is because like in the higher tiers of the game and the higher metas, it's kind of like a lot of with all shotgun brawlers and the closer range brawlers, they're actually very easy to play around. People are always face checking brush. People are always keeping their distance from these shotgun brawlers. Now, Shelly does shine very much in Showdown. Like, if she gets her super in Showdown, she's going to be able to tear down pretty much anyone at will, aside from maybe Rosa, who has her super now. But she's very, very scary and can take care of so many brawlers when she has her super. But at the same time, she's I don't know, I just feel like she gets very phased out of the game a lot, especially in the higher tiers, because people just have figured out how to play around the close range and shotgun, like the close range brawlers pretty much. So that's why I have her down here. It's the same thing with number 23. It's Frank. Frank has one of the most devastating supers in the game. The stun is absolutely absurd, but like, I don't know, I just feel as though ever since they made the change where the grass does not respawn back, like shotgun brawlers and close range brawlers, that the ones that really depend on maybe catching brawlers off guard or getting close range, it really hinders them. So same with Frank, like he's really devastating if you can land a bunch of brawlers in your super, like in Brawl. He's very good. He can be okay in Siege and stuff, but a lot of times you're gonna be able to either knock him out of his super, or you can just totally avoid it as well. But yeah, like the meta just seems to be shifting more towards like a more control based range kind of meta, and that's where kind of Frank falls off a little bit. On number 22 is Primo. Part of this is because of Rosa, part of this is because I don't know, Primo just, he has good utility. He's still okay in Brawl. He still is annoying if he gets up close and that super, but it's kind of the same fate. It's really kind of the same fate as like Frank and Shelly, and I'm sad to say that. Number 21 here is actually fallen way far down, and that is Poco. The issue with him is he does not a lot of damage. Like, I feel like he does very little damage like in a 1v1. You can make the argument that he does a ton of damage, or he does a lot of damage for brawlers that are grouped up. But as you get up there in the higher levels, it's very rare when brawlers are grouped up and together, and you get a lot of use out of this. So maybe there's more damage with him. I mean, he's still an okay gem grab carrier. The meta with like a Daryl rush and like the heal meta, kind of where like it was really strong for a while, where Poco would like have his super, like in Bounty it would be like Daryl and then maybe like a Mortis or whatever and a Poco, and like basically the Poco would just keep healing them, and it'd be really annoying. That has fallen off a lot, and in turn Poco is just taking a turn for the worse of like in favor of the, like how he is in the meta. He's still a solid option, it's just there are better ones at the moment. On number 20 we have Bull here. He's actually got more utility than the other brawlers, because in Heist he's one of the best brawlers, just like rushing that safe. He took a little bit of a hit in Siege because of how the Ike now targets him and it doesn't miss his shot when he charges. So like the siege meta isn't as good. He's still a solid choice in Showdown. Obviously, if he gets right on top of you and is able to get 2 clean shots off, if you're not like a massive amount of power cubes or have Rosa with your super, he's gonna take you out. And it's really, really scary in like the maps where there's still a lot of grass and everything. But same kind of things, you just avoid the brush. You know he's kind of in there. In the other modes, in the control base, you can kind of play him out and phase him out. Number 19, this one was I couldn't rank her higher. I really could not, and that's because you don't really see her. It's number 19's Tara, and I just see it a lot like where she's not as dominant, and the reason why I think is maybe because it takes forever to actually get her super. Her super is still one of the best in the game. It drags brawlers, it's very game changing, but it takes forever to get there. Great super, she just has fallen off a little bit, I think. So number 18 here is Daryl. So these actually next to 18 and 17, they kind of are in the same boat where Daryl really is a swift change for him because he was like, what, top 5 I had him in the last time? Daryl is just like, with Carl being so good now, a way better option. And keep in mind, like if you don't have the star powers for Dynamite or Daryl, they're pretty much very useless because Dynamite really it's helpful for him to get a star power jump to be able to jump over walls, avoid damage. And as for Daryl, without that shield to reduce damage, he is so underwhelming. So that was part of the reason. Now a lot of times I look at it if there is like combining the star powers or whatever, but it's just such a huge drop off for these two. I don't know, it's kind of tough to rank where it's at, but Daryl just fell off a lot with a lot of the changes in the metas and everything. And then Dynamite, I just feel like Barley is superior in every way now. Like, except the only thing that Dynamite has on Barley is the sheer amount of damage he can do if he lands his shots. And I don't know, I just feel like Dynamite is not as good at Barley as like zoning and just control and regenerating their health and everything. So Dynamite is down here for a reason. On number 16, we have Rico. This one's more of on the ease of use for him. I even struggle with it. The maps are, it's very dependent on what the maps you're going to be used for. Some of the like bounty maps he can be okay on. Not really Siege. Siege, he's too squishy. Like Siege is really dependent on like controlling that middle. And I feel like a lot of times with Rico, he doesn't survive enough. In Gem Grab, it's kind of dependent on the maps as well. He can be okay. Showdown, I mean, he can, like, if you're a good Rico and you can stay alive and get those power cubes and just some of the maps, I'll say in Showdown, he's okay. But aside from that, Heist, you don't really play him too much. Brawl, some of the maps. It's like, I feel like that's always the thing. Some of the maps in a couple of the game modes, but he's so hard to use, very squishy. I feel like this is fair. Number 15, one of my favorite brawlers actually, was in the top 10, I think, for the last two rankings. This Penny here. I'm really actually happy that the turret meta has kind of done away with. You guys remember when like Jessie, Penny, Pam, like that turret annoying meta was around? I'm so happy that it's kind of fallen off a little bit because that was one of the least fun experiences I've had in a very long time. And Penny just kind of dropped off a little bit. She's still an okay option in Siege. You're gonna notice the common theme, like where a lot of my decisions are dependent on Siege too. A Gem Grab, an okay gem carrier. In Bounty, I still do like her a lot. It's just the mortar. The mortar is still really, really strong. So she's very good and average. It's just I feel like there's a little bit better options now, especially at like the higher competitive stuff. But still solid. I feel like this is fair ranking. Maybe could bounce her up a little, but I'm okay with this. On number 14, we have Mortis. I'm in the camp where I kind of like where Mortis is now. Before, when he was like very, very dominant, he was very dominant. Now it's more of like he's a little bit tougher to get used to. Once you know how to play him, you can still control a game. Still very good in like a lot of the Gem Grab maps, especially with a good Mortis. A Bounty takes care of a lot of the squishy maps. Brawl, not ever since that change with the auto attack, he's not as great. He can work, especially with a good Mortis. But it's kind of just like, you got to be cautious with it. And then like Heist, obviously don't play him when Siege. I would say no, but Showdown you can try. She's pretty solid, especially to counter the throwers and everything. But I feel like this is a fair spot. This one, he jumped up a lot, is Colt. Just more and more, I see like people that really know how to dominate with Colt. It's really, really scary because if you can land your shots with Colt, he does so much damage. Now, I myself am not the best Colt player, but I've been on the losing end of a Colt, hitting all their shots or what. It's just like he can really, really be a pesky annoyance. He can be very good in some of the siege maps. He can be a solid option in Brawl Ball. Like, he can be a very good option in Brawl Ball, let's be honest. He can destroy the walls, he can help out, he's a very good control brawler. Showdown, I'm seeing him a lot more, especially, it seems though Showdown is becoming like this more wide open maps and a lot more teaming and everything. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's really helping out the longer range brawlers. I'm glad that he's up here because for so long he was very low in my rankings and I hated using him because it was so tough. But now you just gotta land a couple shots and boom, you get kills. Number 12 is Nita. I think she's a good option in Siege. I think she's a good option in Gem Grab. I think she's a good option still in Brawl Ball a little bit with the control of the bear. She has arguably the best skin game in Brawl Stars now, and she's okay in Showdown, not the greatest. Heist, you typically don't play her. Bounty, not so much, but the other modes, she's a very solid choice. And overall, she just is one of the easier brawlers to play. She seems like to be like one of those just annoying brawlers, and if played right, she can literally just take over a game by herself and just help out the team so much, especially with that bear. So I think this is fair. Number 11, this is Jessie. Still very good in the Brawl Ball. Still okay sometimes in Bounty. I was testing her out a little bit, but overall, I don't know what else to say about her. She's just a very good choice, and especially with the star power. I mean, I guess that's another thing. If you have the star power, it makes her feel so much better. And if you don't, she's still a very solid option, especially with those bounce shots. Number 10, this one shot up the rankings. I'm so happy about it. It is Bo. It's the redesign. People are saying like it seems as though his shots shoot faster, but like a secret buff that they gave him. But I don't know. I just know like ever since the last balance change where they increased his damage, I loved playing him a lot more. And you're starting to see it now. Like, he hits so hard, and especially if you can land all 3 of your shots, even up at close range. Like, even if you just start spamming the auto aim, you are going to melt brawlers. So I absolutely love Bo now, and I think this is very fair for his ranking. He in like the more open maps, he's nasty. He offers actually a pretty decent control with those mines. He can be good in like Gem Grab. He can be good in Bounty. He's a good option in Siege sometimes. The more open maps and everything. And he kind of makes the map open anyways, because eventually, like at the end game of Siege, usually there's going to be a lot of walls destroyed because of his mines or whatever brawlers, and it's going to be to his advantage. And it's just kind of like the same thing with Colt. Like, he does so much damage, especially if you can land your shots. Number 9, one of the worst brawlers, got a ton of buffs, crazy buffs since the last one. It is Gene. He has a huge game-changing super. It's like before Tara's was better, but now like it's just so easy to grab with Gene. It can go through walls, and it is so long range, and it is very easy to get. He has like one of the best chip damage. Like, he's got this huge range, and as you guys know, his attack explodes. It's just so good for chip damage and poke damage. It's insane. Gene is just so good, especially at the higher tiers. Like when people are so good with him, it is devastating. He's pretty solid in Siege. You can drag that robot if you want. Brawl Ball, pretty solid too. Gem Grab as that gem carrier. Even in Showdown, he's pretty nasty. Now in Heist, no, but in Bounty, dragging that high Bounty, I absolutely love it. And he can still get those 3 quick shots off and melt any squishy brawler that he maybe drags to him. So Gene is just a nightmare to deal with, and he's one of the best gem carriers right now, and that drag literally puts him up here with how easy it is to use. Number 8, the first legendary, and I'm so happy to say this. I was really wanting him to be up here, but it is Crow. Crow is very, very good. Not like the best, but very good in Siege. Gem Grab, he can be very, very annoying. He's good in, he's also good in Bounty too. Now Heist, Brawl Ball, okay in controlling, and then obviously in Showdown, he's still very dominant. So that buff actually helped him a lot. Number 7, we have Rosa. Obviously, pre-nerf, she would be the number 1 dominant OP brawler, but this is kind of tentative here because it's been a couple days since her nerf, but I still feel like she's still good. And maybe this is too ambitious. I don't know. I'll have to spend a little bit more time, but this is the one I was really, really iffy on. Like, how do you guys feel about Rosa? Do you still feel she's top 10, or do you feel she needs to fall out of it? With that star power, like, oh my gosh, that's what's really, really good about her, just being able to stay in the grass. She does suffer from that close range, but it's just like the same thing where, like, you get that super, you reduce 70% of their damage, and you're just gonna be able to clear them out. Oh my gosh, she just gets her super, walks into the goal if no one can knock her out, like knock that ball out of her. It's crazy. Now Heist, nah, you don't really typically play too much in that because it's more control-ish. Bounty, no, because you need Bounty, just no. So, but all the other modes, she's very devastating, and especially like those punches, man, just getting that super, it's crazy. I feel like this is okay. Now number 6 is Brock. I feel like he's just consistently been top 5, close to the top 5 for basically forever. He's like the best long-range brawler. He's the most versatile. His super breaks walls. His main attack has that like splash damage area that's crazy. It's just, there's so many maps that work well for him. Even in Siege, he's a very good option too. Bounty, good. Brawl Ball can work a little bit. It's a little bit tougher, but he can work. Gem Grab, pretty solid. Bounty, I think I already said Bounty, but Showdown, good too. Heist, some of them. But I don't know, he's just versatile. That's the name of the game for Brock, and he's one of the best at control long range, and he's just awesome. Number 5 is the other legendary. We have Spike. Wanted to put him up a little bit higher, but I feel as though he's still a good gemmer, or gem carrier and gem grab. Brawl Ball, still good. Heist, no. Bounty, no. Siege, sometimes, and that's the reason why, because Siege, he's not as dominant as some of the other brawlers, but he's still a very solid choice. I don't think I have to say, I've talked about Spike so much already, I feel like this is fair. Number 4, Leon. Honestly, Invis is never not going to be good unless they make it only last a couple, like 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Showdown, destroys teamers, love it. He still can be played in Bounty. He still can. Heist, not so much anymore. Brawl Ball, still pretty solid. So he's just overall so good, and that Invis is just very game-changing as well. Number 3, this one shot up a lot of the ranks, and that is Barley. This has a lot to do with Siege, in the fact like he's one of the best brawlers in Siege for control. He's a very, very good brawler in Gem Grab. Brawl Ball, he's very good for the control as well. Heist, very good. The only thing he's not really good at is Bounty in some of the Showdown maps, and I feel like he's just, his star power just keeps him alive, and it's so annoying. So Barley, I think it's for good cause up here. Now number 2, she was number 1 best brawler OP. She got a nerf, and she's still number 2. She's still so good. This is Pam. It's just her HP. She's too dang tanky, man. Like, she's still so still like the best gem carrier. She's still very good in Siege. Brawl Ball, good control. Heist, you can use her as a control. Bounty, you don't really play her too much. That's one you kind of stay away. Bounty and Heist, you kind of typically don't play her at the moment, but she can be with the right comp. But just her dominance in the other ones and her versatility in the other ones, it's hard to put her lower with how solid and how overall good she is in a lot of this. On number 1, may surprise you, I firmly believe Carl is one of the best brawlers right now, and if not the best brawler. And that's why I literally could not think, like, just, he's so terrifying, especially if you have his star power, how fast his boomerang or pickaxe goes, how much damage he can deal. That super, the buffs that they gave him just made him so incredibly awesome, and he's very, very tanky. He's good in Showdown, he's good in Gem Grab, he's good in Brawl Ball, he is okay in Heist, he can be okay in Bounty. He's just so tanky, does a lot of damage, can lock down with his pickaxe, and just zones so well. And it's just terrifying. Like, if you are a squishier brawler like Crow, Spike, even Piper, any of those, his pickaxe chunks you. Especially if you have that star power, you can just throw it again. Oh my gosh, he just offers so much control. Now, he can get knocked out of his super, but even so, like, he can zip around the map with it. It's just, Carl to me is the brawler right now I do not want to face. Like, I don't know, like, am I crazy for putting him here? I don't think so. He's just so devastating now, especially with a good Carl that can land their stuff. Now, one thing, like, is if you can avoid his pickaxe sometimes, but aside from that, if you're facing like a solid Carl that's really good, and it's just like, it's just lockdown pretty much, and it's crazy how much this brawler can do and how tanky he is and how much his damage output he has with his range too. So that's why he can be played in bounty too. He has an incredible range with that pickaxe. It's nasty. So that's why I have Carl at number 1. But this is my rankings here. I've gone a little bit over 15 minutes. I'm sorry, but thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Like I said, this is my tentative ranking. Like, I just really like the brawlers that are very versatile in a lot of game modes and ones that are pretty dominant in a select few for sure. But let me know your thoughts on the ranking. Like I said, this is just like my opinions, my trophy range that I'm around in the meadows that I'm experiencing while playing and everything. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you guys like the ranking video. Subscribe.